Hi, this is Tom Nunamaker with Aramir Corporation. Today I'm going to show you a little bit about ExperSignal, the underlying terms and things that I use with the ExperCharts software. So when you see them in the trade messages and the summaries that I do, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So to get a quick overview, if you're on the class page, you'll see ExperSignal Trade Glossary. So if you click on that, I've expanded this a little bit. So this describes what the anchors are, and you'll see this on the software. These are the anchor columns. Blue is positive or bullish, and pink is bearish and negative. But these are the 48-hour column, 24, 12, and 6. So the 6 and 12 are usually for minor pullbacks or small changes in direction, and these longer term ones are the ones that we use for entries, primarily the 48-hour. Those are the strongest turning points. The confirmation oscillator, this is only on the 2-hour charts. It's this blue line on the bottom indicator area. So this is this zero line is neutral. In between the zero line and this dash line is slightly bearish. Below that is bearish. In between 0 and this dotted line is slightly bullish, and above that is bullish. So in this case, this indicator, this confirmation oscillator, would be slightly bearish and rising though. The direction indicator, DIR, it shows positive and negative numbers. Negative is bearish, positive is bullish. Generally, if you're within, say, 2 or 3 of 0, that's, it's slightly bullish or bearish. It's not really strong. These numbers you can see are fairly big. There's 6, I think, and then there's some 7s below that. I've seen 8s. But anything over 3 or 4 is fairly strong in that one direction. So we want that when we're trying to make a new trade, we want that direction indicator to be falling. So for instance, we're getting closer to 0. So I had a long trade on the Australian dollar, US dollar tonight, and DIR I think was minus 0.3 when I took the trade. So it had been minus 6, 7, 8, but it was getting healthier. All the other indicators were lining up, and I felt it was close enough to 0 and rising that it was a good long entry. And it ended up making 62 pips in about 77 minutes. So that was a good trade. NCI is a neural candle indicator. I forgot to put it in the glossary, but basically what it is, I can just show you in the software. On the 6-hour charts, you'll see these lines here. If it's a yellow line, or not a line, like a candle. If it's a yellow candle, it's just slightly bearish or slightly bullish. If it's red or pink color and fairly long, that's definitely bearish. And if it's blue and long, it's definitely bullish. So what we're doing on the 6-hour confirmations is we're looking for these neural candles to change color, go below the line, and this to pop up above 0 and be the blue to show that it's long. But I'll add that to the glossary. The neural candles, these are what you see here. You can see the underlying normal candles that you're used to seeing, and the neural candles kind of smooth that out quite a bit. And generally, if it's pink and above the line, it's bearish. If it's blue and below the line, it's bullish. Sometimes it'll cross. That's like here. It's starting to cross, so that's usually a good sign that maybe it's time to exit. The pivots, these are on the information page for the service. Basically, Daniel split up the markets into 10 different pivot types, and that's from Clyde Lee's work. Unfortunately, Clyde has passed on, but we still are using a derivative of his work. Daniel took it to a few more levels beyond what Clyde had. Daniel uses groups of 4 pivots, so each pivot, each turning point in the market has a different pattern, and he uses groups of the last 4 changes, the last 4 pivot numbers, and creates a 4-number or 4-digit pattern, and he has all kinds of statistics for that, and it's pretty detailed. But that's one of the underlying concepts of ExperCharts as these pivots. Now you don't see it in the software, but if I talk about pivots, and that's what I'm talking about. The pressure bar, these are the these little bars with the colors underneath the main chart and at the top of the kind of indicator area. So there's 2 rows of them on the 2-hour chart. There's a primary change, which is the top one, and then the bottom is the change of what ExperCharts is thinking that it's doing. So Here the primary one is bearish, but these blue ones are saying, well, I think it might be turning bullish. And here it's like, well, maybe not. It's still bearish. And you can see it sold off a little bit or went sideways. And then it said, no, maybe it's going bullish. So I expect the next bar to start turning blue. The other color you'll see in here is yellow, like here is neutral. So sometimes you'll see a yellow primary one, and that means it's just kind of going sideways. If you see it's say bullish or bearish, and then you get like red over yellow, that means, okay, maybe it's not quite as bearish as I thought. It might be slowing down. So it's just, here's the color. So red or pink is bearish, yellow, neutral, blue is bullish. XIT is the exit indicator. That's this candle type of thing on the lower portion of a chart. So what we want to see on the exit indicator is it's kind of matching the new direction. So here is a bullish trade. We want to see XIT rising. We want to see it get above 0. We like the green candles on XIT. That means it's rising. And you know, if this starts slowing down and you're in a rally, then it could be an indication that we maybe start thinking about taking some profits. But that's the XIT. And you can also use this on the 6-hour chart. So when we look at the neural candle indicator, the NCI, and that switches, we also want to see XIT on the 6-hour chart rising. It doesn't have to be up to 0 yet because it lags a little bit from the 2-hour chart, but we want to see XIT going up or for a bullish signal, or going down for a bear signal. And then these are the XPC is the ExperCharts software, XPS is the service, ExperSignal. So when you get trade messages, you'll see XPS. So if you're getting multiple trade alerts, you'll see codes for each one, and XPS is for the ExperSignal code or trade alert service. Okay, so again, let's go back to the software itself and put it all together. Now the anchors, again, we're looking for the 48-hour anchors, which are the strongest ones, and you'll see them on the chart. Let's see if I pull up a 2-hour chart, you'll see them. This little box down here is, let's see if I can see one better. The little, okay, it's kind of auto scaling. There it is. So this is the anchor, and these will move. So when this was falling, first it got down here, and then it had, well, I think maybe this is the turning point. So it prints a 20 or 48-hour anchor, and then it goes sideways. And go, well, maybe it's looking good, and some of the other things are starting to slow down, and then all of a sudden it broke down and continued selling off. And then the software is like, well, okay, so here we have a lower low, and then it's saying, well, here's another one. So now I think this is the one. So you don't want to take a trade when you see these 48-hour anchors alone. They need to be confirmed. So we'll have an anchor, it'll move, it'll sell off some more, go sideways, it'll move. And then again, it has to be confirmed. But this is kind of your early warning. I call it the AWACS indicator, the Airborne Warning and Control System the Air Force has in that airplane with the big radar dish. So this lets you know ahead of time when it thinks the market's turning and when you should start paying attention to when there's a possible change in direction that could be a new trade entry. So things that we want to do after we get this 48-hour anchor, we start looking at the direction, see how negative or positive it is. Like this one we have, you'll see at the extremes when we get these 48-hour anchors, the direction is quite strong in the opposite direction. So here we've been selling off quite a bit, minus 6.8. We get a long entry. Well, we don't want to take it yet. This is still pretty strong. I had one on the Australian dollar earlier tonight, and it was, I think it entered, what about here, something like that. But anyway, I had a minus 6.7 on the direction, and we had the long 48-hour anchor at the close on Wednesday. Today is Friday morning early, and you can see when I took the trade, it was the direction was getting less and less negative. It was still negative, but not much. It was less than 2, I think, when I put the trade on, or around minus 1.5 ish. So that was rising, which was great. I wanted to see the direction going in my favor. So then, what else do I look at after that? I start looking at the 6-hour chart. So the 6-hour chart, we're looking at these red neural candles coming down, and then now it crosses and it turns to a blue candle, a neural candle. So the blue neural candle under the blue line, the pressure bar is saying, okay, I think this is bullish. This is the neural candle indicator. This has gone from bearish to bullish. And remember, these little yellow ones are just small, slightly bearish, slightly bullish. So this one, okay, I think this is bullish now. And we can see XIT was rising. It hadn't quite gotten up to 0, but it had some nice movement going up, and it's actually almost at 0 right now. So I entered at 50. Now this is the future, so it was somewhere around here, I think, where I entered. And within an hour, it had gone up 62 pips, and I was out. It's subsequently gone higher, so if I'd stayed in the trade, it would have made more money. But I tried to get filled on 2 contracts, only one got filled. So I couldn't just close half of the position and reset my stop to lock in a profit. But I decided with 62 pips of profit, that's the same as having 31 pips of profit on a 2 lot. And that's, I think it was about a 2.5% gain on the account in an hour. So you can't complain with that. Like Joe Ross used to say, you don't go broke taking profits. So that's basically what I do. So we're looking at the 6-hour, the NCI to confirm the neural candles, to change colors, switch the direction, or switch to the opposite side of that blue line. XIT is rising. The direction is coming into the right direction. It doesn't have to be bullish. It doesn't have to be above 0 yet, as long as it's trending in that direction. So, I don't like it to see if it's bearish going to a bullish signal like this. I don't like to see the direction say below -3, but this was 2, 1.5, or -1.5, -2 range, and it was decreasing, getting closer towards 0, which is what I wanted to see. And on the 2-hour chart, you can see it had already turned bullish and had quite a few bullish candles. So we took the trade and it worked out. Now you can see here with some of those yellow indicators we talked about on the change indicator. So here it's saying it's bearish, bearish, bearish. And then, okay, and I think it's turning bullish. Maybe it's not quite so bullish, and maybe it's going bearish. And it's like, no, maybe it's going bullish. And here you can see the change, the primary pressure bar is switched to neutral now. So now it's saying, well, it's not bearish anymore, it's maybe neutral. And you can see it doesn't happen that often once you get into a trend. So that if you're in a long-term trend or a long-term trade, this might be a time to get out, because this is saying, well, XIT is positive, is rising. Confirmation oscillator finally made it above 0. The change indicator is bullish. The 6-hour chart is looking bullish. So it was a good call for a change of direction. Now, interesting, there's this pattern is actually a very good entry from Joe DiNapoli's book I got it years ago. He called this railroad tracks. So basically, when it breaks out from a range, or if it's in a trend, if it has a big push down and immediately snaps back, he called that like a rejection type of trade. So this price was rejected and the buyers came in immediately. He would go long right here. So that would have been a great long. So you can use different patterns that work a lot. I like the railroad tracks. There's another one called a 2B reversal. But you're looking for generally good setups. So you're waiting for, and Daniel talks about the angle of repose. So that's the angle of this move down, which is about 45 degrees, which is what you like. If you see these small angles where it's just kind of going about back and forth in a trading range, that's not really an ideal entry. So you want kind of a trend, the end of a trend, and then you want to watch some of these things as it turns and then jump on it and get in the trade. So that's basically how to use it. And if you have any questions, let me know. I can add things to the glossary or whatever. But yeah, enjoy the service. It's going great this month, up 13.11%. So thanks a lot, and we'll catch you later. Bye.